Hello, welcome to the channel and welcome to the show. It is I, Chris with a K. I hope everyone's well. So what I'm about to show you is an old clip, an old news clip from the BBC archives, and it looks like it was filmed on some kind of potato. So if I get any copyright claims on footage, I will be absolutely amazed, but the words are very important of what you're going to hear. Tony Blair is being asked questions about plans to identify supposedly problem children while they're still babies, not after they've committed a crime, not after they've caused trouble, while they're still in nappies, or before they're even born. Health visitors flagging families, computers assessing babies through what the government called multiple disadvantages. And if the parents refused the help of the state, well, benefits could be withdrawn, court orders issued, and ultimately their children taken into care, because we all know about the birth certificate, don't we? And so you just stop and think about that. The state deciding which babies might grow up to become a menace to society, and then intervening before anything actually happens. Blair calls it early intervention. The interviewer calls it Big Brother. And moi calls it fucking evil. Watch this.
Will 10-month-old Georgia grow up to be a hooligan? What about Owen, Hannah, or Brittany? The government says it's possible to spot the problem individuals of the future while they're still in romper suits. No, these are not them. Their parents attend sessions to ensure the best possible upbringing for their kids. But the Prime Minister says if problem parents refuse such support, the state should step in.
If we're not prepared to predict and intervene far more early, then there are children that are going to grow up in families that we know perfectly well are completely dysfunctional, and the kids a few years down the line are going to be a menace to society and actually a threat to themselves.
I'm interested in how early, because a lot of the evidence suggests you need to be getting in there while the child is still in nappies, frankly.
Or pre-birth, even.
There it is. A computer system identifying babies. Alarm bells being triggered. And if the family doesn't cooperate, they could lose their benefits or their child, or both. And listen to the language being used. Multiple disadvantages, obvious problems. But who identifies that? Who decides when a struggling family becomes a dangerous family? Because needing help is one thing, being threatened to accept state help is another.
We should be intervening far earlier, making it clear that in those circumstances from a very early age there's going to be support, but also some sense of discipline and framework put in place in order to make sure that that child gets a better start in life.
Government experts reckon that if you wait until adulthood, a dysfunctional person costs the taxpayer on average £25,000 a year. Even at nursery and primary school age, children can have developed profound behavioural problems that will blight their life chances. Hence the focus on identifying and intervening as early as possible. The plan is for health visitors to flag up obvious problems, a computer system to identify babies growing up with multiple disadvantages, and once alarm bells ring, tailored support offered. But if the family refuses help, sanctions might include withdrawal of benefits, court orders, and ultimately the children taken into care.
And that's the moment, isn't it? Blair says that they're going to offer help, but when he's challenged with, what if they refuse and take your child away? He doesn't deny it. He says, you've got to look at the interest of the child. So the support comes with a threat attached to it. Accept what the state decides is best for your family, or the state might decide that your family shouldn't belong together. Fear. Tell me, how is that voluntary help?
Early intervention is key to the approach on this housing project in York. Run by the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, new parents, whatever their circumstances, can take advantage of a range of early support. Elsewhere, it's felt, agencies often fail to act soon enough.
The reality is if you want to get social services involved in that family, then basically you've got to have a bruised baby on your hands. The threshold is that high, and we believe that, we don't wait for that to happen. We pick up on the signs at a very early point and we get in there.
And secondly, within what framework?
As Mr. Blair comes towards the end of his premiership, he's anxious to leave his mark and prepared to take political risks. He knows that targeting babies and toddlers in his crusade against antisocial behaviour is bound to make headlines.
That group of families that are severely dysfunctional, that have multiple problems, there is no point in sort of pussyfooting around the issue.
That's scary for people, this is Big Brother. This is that kid there is a problem of the future. We must go in.
Yeah, but you're going in to offer help and support. For example,
you may be going in to say, you're not going to accept our support, so we'll take your child away.
Well, you've got to look after the interests of the child.
But the idea that the state should intervene in how families bring up their children before problems occur is extremely contentious.
The government is trying to take over a parenting role. I mean, the idea of removing children, the proposal isn't completely clear, but the suggestion that children would be removed is not actually tackling the problem.
The answer isn't more state intervention. It's to encourage the social enterprises, the voluntary sector, the community groups to help people without trying to run their lives for them.
Exactly. Help people without trying to run their lives for them. Nobody is arguing that children shouldn't be left in dangerous, real dangerous situations that can be proven, but that isn't what makes this so genuinely disturbing. They're talking about predicting future behaviour, looking at babies, toddlers, and unborn children, and then deciding which one of them could potentially become society's problems further down the line. It's punishment, or at least state intervention, based on not what somebody has done, but what state officials think that somebody might do. And once the government gives itself that power, where the hell does it stop?
Ministers in your government, there's no new money for any of this. They are going to have to shift resources to put this plan into action. And they may already be looking and saying, well, we know Tony's not going to be around perhaps in a year or two, and they're looking at the next guy, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think that anybody who looks at this problem will come to pretty much the same type of conclusion.
Really?
Well, I think so, and the work that we've been doing recently has been an indication of that.
He doesn't want to talk about when he's leaving, but expects a lot more on social exclusion. A keynote speech next week and a government-wide plan the week after. But Tony Blair's problem is that he's a short-term PM, proposing long-term policies. Mark Easton, BBC News.
Now, that report aired nearly 20 years ago. The mindset behind it has not disappeared. Collect the data, flag the family, assess the child, predict the risk, intervene before anything's even happened, and describe the whole thing as support. Of course, there are situations where children do genuinely need protecting, safeguarding, and nobody disputes that. But protecting a child from proven harm is very different from labelling a baby as a future threat because of their family circumstances. And the most revealing part of this is that Blair didn't even recoil when the interviewer called it Big Brother. He defended it. Q911. So, I'm asking you, was this about protecting vulnerable children? Or was it about giving the state more and more power and control over families deemed as undesirable? Over families considered undesirable? And when help can be backed up by benefit sanctions, court orders and threats to take your child away, can it honestly still be called help? Let me know what you think in the comments below as always. See you in the next video. Bye for now.